Greetings everyone. So I want to take a look at this Richard Dawkins little clip where he, I believe, misdefines why people, certainly religious people, certainly those of the three main monotheistic faiths, believe in God. I think he gives kind of a straw man argument as to where belief in God comes from.
If I think sort of as a scientist, the amount of things we actually know about our universe is a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage of what we could possibly know. So just from everything, even the certainty we have about the laws of physics, it seems to be that there's yet a huge amount to discover. And therefore we're sitting where 99.999% of things is just still shrouded in mystery. Do you think there's a role in a kind of spiritual view of that, sort of a humbled spiritual view?
I think it's right to be humble. I think it's right to admit that there's a lot we don't know, a lot that we don't understand, a lot that we still need to work on. Yeah. We're working on it. What I don't think is that it helps to invoke supernatural explanations. If our current scientific explanations aren't adequate to do the job, then we need better ones. We need to work more. And of course, the history of science shows just that as science goes on, problems get solved one after another, and the science advances as science gets better. But to invoke a non-scientific, non-physical explanation is simply to lie down in a cowardly way and say, we can't solve it, so we're going to invoke magic.
Richard Dawkins is essentially saying that it's kind of cheating to believe in God, because what people have done is they've looked around and they've said, wow, look at all this. How did we get here? How did the universe get here? Well, we have no clue. So it must be God or some divine being that created everything. He's essentially saying that people, in their lack of knowledge of why we're here and how we got here, have just decided to make up this being that created everything, and then that's the answer they have. That's their answer because they're too lazy to figure it out themselves scientifically. But the thing is, that is absolutely not the reason why Christians, Jews, and even Muslims believe in God. They don't believe in God because a bunch of people had no idea how we got here, so they said, well, God sounds like it's the most plausible thing, so yeah, do you believe that? Yeah, I think I believe that. Yeah, let's all believe that it's God. The reason that they believe in God, that we believe in God, it's because we believe it's been revealed to us by God. The only reason we know that there's a God and we know some things about God is because God revealed that to us. If he hadn't have done that, to this day, we still would not know how we got here, why we're here. And in fact, Richard Dawkins, when he was recently on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show, was asked about this. He was asked, how did we get here? And he essentially said, well, I don't know, but you don't know either.
What was there at the start?
We don't know. But I don't know, and you don't know.
For some reason, Richard Dawkins is very upset if somebody else tries to claim that they know how we got here, how the universe began. As far as he's concerned, it hasn't been figured out yet, so therefore nobody can know. Nuclear engineer and plasma physicist at MIT, Ian Hutchinson, puts it in a very good way.
The most fundamental thing about monotheism, as you know, Abraham and Moses and so forth handed it down, is that God is not an entity within the creation, within the universe, that God is the creator of it all. And that's what Genesis, first two chapters of Genesis, is really about. It's not about telling us, how God created the world. It's about telling us and telling the early Hebrews that God created the world, okay? And that therefore he is not, simply an entity within it. On the other hand, our finite minds have a pretty hard time encompassing that.
Right. Yeah.
So one has to therefore work in terms of metaphors and images and so forth. And I think we would know very little about who God is if we were simply left to our own devices. If we were just, here you are, you're in the universe, try to figure out who made it and so forth.
So again, Ian Hutchinson basically explains the only reason that we know about God, of his existence, and other things about his nature, if you could say, is because he revealed that to us. He helped us by essentially revealing himself in some way. Now, of course, people could say, well, why is he just revealing himself to the occasional person here and there? Why doesn't he just reveal himself generally to everyone? And that's fair enough. That's a fair question. It's a why question. I don't know the answer to that question, but that's how we know of his existence, or that's how we believe we know of his existence. Now, of course, again, if you are a non-believer, you can say, well, I don't believe that God revealed himself to Abraham. I believe either this incident didn't happen at all, or if it did happen, Abraham, he might have had a dream where he thought God was revealing himself to him, or maybe it was some kind of illusion. Of course, you don't have to believe that God revealed himself, and that's how we know he exists, but understand that the reason why Christians, Jews, and Muslims believe in God is because they believe in a revelation somewhere. So the suggestion by Richard Dawkins that it's kind of cheating, it's lazy, perhaps even arrogant to suggest that, well, there's probably just a God who made everything, is incorrect. And actually, I think it's the other way around. It's arrogant to suggest that there is no God.
I don't think you can say there's no God, because that takes a lot of confidence to say, nope, there's definitely not a God. How do you know? Just because doesn't seem like there's one? So there's not one. How can a human being think that they know that there isn't anything? I mean, you're a human, you can see for 100 yards tops. How could you possibly know? God might be right behind you all the time, just like...
It's arrogant and lazy to suggest that just because we haven't discovered God, there is no God. As Lex Fridman said to Richard Dawkins during that chat, he said, you know, there is 99.999% of the universe that we still don't know anything about. It's a complete mystery. And so for someone to say, well, we haven't found God using our scientific methods, therefore there is probably no God, it's actually unscientific and lazy. It's trying to disprove something just based on what you found out so far. This might not be the best example, but if somebody said, you know, I think that there is a planet somewhere in the universe that's rainbow colored and it spins round, and as it's spinning it makes this kind of musical sound, and I said no, that's nonsense. From the planets we've discovered so far, there's no such thing. There's no planet like that, and there's no planet anywhere like that. That wouldn't be very scientific of me. I could think it's unlikely that there's a planet out there that's rainbow colored and plays music as it spins around, but I wouldn't say there's clearly no planet like that, because I don't know, because there's so much of the universe that I don't know. Okay folks, and that is everything I have to say about that. I look forward to reading some of the comments in the comments section, probably mostly from atheists. Let's see. Thank you very much for watching.